Are you struggling to invest in property this year and need help buying? Then you need to book in a consultation with Investor's Dream and let us do the hard work for you. Don't fall victim to missing out on incredible deals like everyone else. Lock in a meeting today. Go to investorsdream.com.au and secure your financial freedom today.
Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show, the podcast by investors for investors.
G'day, how you going? Welcome to the podcast. Phil Tarrant here, your host of the Smart Property Investment Show. It's a real privilege for you to join us as we get into this property game. Seems like the eyes of the world, if not all Australians, are on Australian property at the moment as we all hold on for this speed of growth. And I'm quite fortunate that I get to navigate this industry, this sector, across all the different facets of it, and dialed into those people who seem to know a lot about it. And already it's funny how quickly sentiment changes, but some people who I like to think are quite informed, I won't give you their names, but they've been on the show before already saying, hey, we're starting to see Sydney starting to patter out a little bit. I think the big surge of growth has happened and it's not going to be going at the same speed as what it has done. Whether or not you subscribe to that sentiment, who knows? And we'll get them in the studio over the coming weeks to have a bit of a yarn about it. But everyone's trying to make sense of the market right now. When to buy, where to buy, how to buy, what to buy, all those usual sort of stuff. So we report on it regularly, daily, hourly sometimes on smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. It's where Australia goes to for information around property investment and smart property investing. So we take our responsibility, pretty importantly, our service to you to make sure you can make more informed investment decisions. So make sure you're checking out smartpropertyinvestment.com.au if you want to know what's happening. Now, lots of good pieces over the last week or so. What I thought I'd do is I'd bring in our editor, Maja, editor of Consumer Wealth and Real Estate here at Momentum Media, to break down some of these stories because she is the brains trust of this operation. She knows what's going on in probably more than anyone I know, and she's responsible for leading the team on Smart Property Investment to make sure we're writing about the right stuff and we're curating the right information. Maja, how are you going? You good?
Good, thank you, Phil. Thank you for the nice, kind intro.
It was quite kind, wasn't it?
It was.
It's a tough job you've got because having done your same job for many years, we just get inundated with information every single day. So trying to work out, what does all this mean and what do we concentrate on? What do we get the most merit to? So
that's right. I think especially in property where you get so many people making predictions, it's really hard to sort of, realize which ones are, which ones you want to report on and which ones just don't make any sense. So.
And the balance is, which stories are going to get us the most, which headlines are going to get the most clicks versus the ones where you just go, we're not even going to run that. It's a lot of garbage.
We don't chase clicks, Phil.
We don't chase
not
clicks.
On SPI.
No, absolutely not. We do the stuff, we write the stuff that's important. Now, Maja, story here. House prices to grow by 25% over 3 years. Well, to talk about a clickbait headline, but there's new research is predicting a large gain in property price around 25% through the end of 2023. It's only 2.5 years away, driven mainly by low interest rates. The forecast based on a model developed by RBA's economists Peter Tulip and Trent Saunders. Is that a name or a person? Is that his name?
That's his name, yes.
Trent Saunders. And he's in.
It sounds like a soap opera name.
But if you're in the business of modelling economic things and your name is Trend, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Foresees house prices grow by 8% over 2021, including an additional 9% in 2022 and a final spike of 8% in 2023. Look, this is Australia-wide. What do you reckon? What do we know about this?
So the reason we did run this one is because it is based on modelling developed by the RBA. So it gives us sort of more validity. So house prices tipped to grow by 25%. So it does sound like a lot by the end of 2023, but it is 8% 2021, like you said, and then 9% and then another 8%. And we have already seen growth of 6% since sort of the pandemic started. So it is sort of expected to continue that same trend, although there are some new figures now sort of saying that, the property market is starting to cool slowly. So we'll see what happens.
Earlier. So, what I'm hearing is sentiment driven by people who are on the front line.
That's right.
Trading in real estate, auctioneers, real estate agents and stuff. It takes a long time for the data to flow through the show that. It could be 6 months before we actually see those trends playing out in the data. So you've got to be careful of that. But to your point, 25% growth in property sounds like a lot.
It sounds like a lot, but then when you actually look at it, it is over 3 years.
And it's aggregate as well. You're adding up growth. But, you're talking about a average growth
Which
of
is-
about 7 or 8%.
Yeah, which is still pretty amazing for anyone that does currently own a property to sort of hear that, your property might go up in value by 25% in under 3 years. So, but yeah, for first home buyers, it's not, not great news for them, but
It's always the way, but interesting story. And we'll expect to see more of these headlines right across Australia, irrespective of the outlet you use for your property information. Just always filter it and look at it. There's stories behind the numbers, and people can badge up big numbers to make it sound good, but proceed with caution and make sure you do your research. So another story here, Maja, again, something that no doubt got a lot of clicks. Top 10 fastest selling suburbs in Australia. After a year rocked by COVID, more Australians have reassessed their lifestyle needs, resulting in high demand for bigger houses, bigger blocks of land and properties in scenic locations. With suburbs closer to CBDs flawed by space restrictions and a lack of affordability, buyers are encouraged to look further afield, according to REA economists. We actually say what the top 10 are?
Yes, we do. So scroll down. We have, so they're mostly in Tasmania, to be honest. So we have 3 in Victoria, 1 in New South Wales, and then the remainder are in Tasmania. So that's quite interesting.
Well, let's not tell people where they are. If you want to go and find out where they are, smartpropertyinvestment.com. That is from REA. So REA typically know what they're doing. And I'm looking at some of these stories here. You'd be surprised. A few down in Tassie as expected. But,
that's very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Go around the Newcastle area.
Absolutely. Now, let's get to this story here, which is pretty interesting, but we'll go to break beforehand. Back in a moment.
Whether you're a seasoned property investor or about to buy your first property, finding the right investment property to buy in 2021 isn't easy. Why do it alone when you could partner with award-winning buyer's agent Paul Glossop? Over the last 10 years, Paul has helped hundreds of clients build multi-property portfolios. Paul's secret is finding off-market bargains that get snapped up before the general public even gets a sniff. Interested? Head to purepropertyinvestment.com today to schedule a strategy call with Paul Glossop.
Welcome back, everyone. Phil Tarrant and Maja from smartpropertyinvestment.com.au, going through some of the stories which are breaking the internet on smart property investment this last week or so. Queensland rental crisis. Now, my computer's playing up. It says Queensland rental crisis, areas with highest vacancy rates revealed. So this is another metric, right? Maja, around, it's just not price growth, but it's about the yields of property which property investors need to be considering. So this story here says almost 80% of Queensland's rental market is experiencing extremely low vacancy rates. While demand continues to soar, a new report has revealed as much as 78.9% of Queensland's rental market has remained static or experienced extreme tightening of available rentals over the first quarter of 2021, signalling a rental crisis. So this is out of the Real Estate Institute of Queensland. So it's pretty hard, according to this story, to
find a rental,
which is good for property investors.
Yeah. That's right. So apparently, according to the Real Estate Institute, 70.2% of the market has vacancy rates of below 1%, while Brisbane's inner city has recorded the biggest quarterly drop at 0.5%. So it's pretty tight in Brisbane.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you got to look into the why. Right?
Yeah.
Why is this the case? And
well, we have heard that people are sort of moving up to Brisbane, aren't they, since COVID, and sort of to the warmer areas, and it's cheaper to buy up there, obviously.
Yeah, I think people are chasing lifestyle, you know, the post-COVID environment, this sort of interstate migration.
More space.
More space positive in Queensland. But you got to also apply, and by the way, this is in every single market in Queensland and or Brisbane. There's parts of Brisbane which are still struggling. A lot of the apartment market there, which was overbuilt for a period of time, which is now just getting the infill. But we need to remember that you've got to consider this environment and you've got to consider this scenario on the basis that there is no overseas migration at the moment as well. So, you know, it comes back to the point, what happens when borders do open up and the world looks to Australia as a great place to live.
That's right. See what happens.
See what happens there. But
did you know, Phil, that Brisbane apparently is geographically the 3rd largest city in the world?
As in the
land
city
area
itself, yeah. But it can go forever, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that's pretty interesting. So it's
Melbourne's pretty big as well, by memory, geographically. Yeah, Melbourne can get big.
Fast.
Melbourne can get big.
Yeah, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, that's right.
Yeah, but Sydney's sort of locked in, right? Like you go north,
Yeah,
you
you
hit the
can't
Hawkesbury,
really-
you go west, you hit the Blue Mountains, you go south, you hit National Park. So
That's right. Melbourne it still has space to grow.
yeah,
There's a
I
lot
was
of
flying
stuff.
out of there the
Yeah.
other day and I just went, just so much land still to go, right? Like you just see green fields.
Yeah,
and then
there is. They are actually, we were driving, my husband and I actually drove to Melbourne over the Easter break. And when you're sort of entering sort of from the airport onto the city, that they're selling that land, they're sort of, there's going to be new sort of suburbs going up in that area. Which,
It's going to be new suburbs going up
and it's pretty
forever.
close to the city. It's not that far away when you think about it. I think
not.
it's like half an hour drive.
But
so
it feels rural, right?
It does feel rural because there's nothing around at the moment. I think there's a DFO and that's about it.
Yeah. It does feel rural out by the airport. So that's all
Yeah.
going to get infill over many years. And this is always the discussion around. And they're saying that Melbourne will be a bigger
City than Sydney. Well, it's pretty close in
time.
population too, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so property investors need to be thinking about all of these type of things. Another story here, Maja, which is really interesting on smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. National home values rise at fastest pace in 30 years. And this is CoreLogic.
Yeah.
National home index values recorded the fastest rate of appreciation in over 30 years, with capital cities said to have reclaimed a pole position, having been outpaced by regional markets for months. National home values expanded a further 2.8% in March, the fastest rate of appreciation, CoreLogic since 1988. So this is pretty interesting stuff.
Yes, the capital cities are finally sort of taking over in terms of growth. We saw the regions flourish during that pandemic period, and everyone did say that was going to come to an end sooner or later, with people sort of returning to the offices and realizing, I do have to be close to my office rather than living, 100K or so away from the CBD. So that's pretty interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of this stuff moving forward, just stories about price growth and speed of growth and all this sort of stuff, and just hold on, it's just going to be the narrative. And this next story, Maja, the one that we sort of want to run through, is again connected with that. We'll just go to break. Back in a moment. Stay with us.
Are you ready to take your first steps towards financial freedom by investing in property? Maybe you've started your portfolio but need some help continuing to grow. Lachlan Vidler and the team at Atlas Property Group are here to help. As experts in property investment, Lachlan and his team are ready to help you take advantage of some of the best investing conditions in almost 20 years. By completing the research, sourcing and negotiations, Lachlan goes the extra mile to find you a high-performing investment and set you on your path to financial freedom. Book in your free discovery call today at atlaspropertygroup.com.au.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're well. Phil and Maja from the Smart Property Investment Show, going through some of the stories which are shaping discussions, the narrative, and the pointing at property in Australia at the moment. Now, the story here, Maja, has the property market reached its peak? It says Australian property has shown exceptional growth strength as it rebounds post-pandemic, with the national growth rate in March beating a 33-year record. However, some experts still believe it's all downhill from here. Record low mortgage rates, additional stimulus measures, persistently low stock levels, and a surge in consumer confidence have boosted the Australian property market following a tumultuous 2020. Gee, I got that word out. Didn't think I would. It could be reached a peak. So Tim Lawless from CoreLogic saying it could be reached its peak. So this is what we're saying beforehand. So how fast will it grow, and the speed at which, and when things start to change, i.e. interest rates aren't going to stay at this level forever.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Tim here says that, housing values, they're not going to reverse. It's not, prices aren't going to come down, but the rate of growth is going to slow. So I think we saw that over April as well, where CoreLogic is now reporting 1.8% growth in housing values compared to 2.8 in March. So it has slowed considerably during the month of April. So that's interesting. And I think a lot less people are also turning up to auctions now, which is another sort of interesting point. But perhaps it's just gone too far. Perhaps it's becoming pretty unaffordable for Aussies are waiting now for it to sort of rebound.
Yeah, they are. And we're recording this on a Monday morning. So, to your point around auctions, and this is according to Domain. So everyone's sort of got different auction clearance rates, but Domain saying in Sydney, clearance rate of 81%, which is 50% up on this time last year, 934 auctions scheduled, 693 reported, 558 sold. So it looks like some stuff got sold before auction anyway. 83 was withdrawn, 52 passed in. So 52 passed in. Total sales, $618 million for a median of 1.4 million. Let's have a look at Melbourne, Maja, and 77% there. 1,084 scheduled, 821 reported, sold 639. the volumes will be a little bit lower than Sydney. Brizzy, which isn't necessarily known as an auction type state, Maja, 72% clearance rate. This time last year for Brisbane, 8%. So it gives you some sense for what's going on.
Yeah, wow.
Not a huge auction state. 69 scheduled, 43 reported, 31 sold. So different dynamics up in Brizzy, stuff getting sold by private treaty. Auction results for Adelaide, clearance rate of 84%, which is versus 0 last year. 125 scheduled, 79 reported, 66 sold, 5 withdrawn. And then Canberra, 90% clearance rate, 55% last year. So Canberra's
doing well.
Yes, it's bucked a trend a lot through COVID. It's had a pretty good run. 75 scheduled, 63 reported, 57 sold. So that's a pretty good clearance rate. So look, it just gives you some sense. And that's the 1st of May 2021, so last Saturday. Things are happening.
That is pretty interesting. And Melbourne's rebounding, it seems, because Melbourne's sort of going through, the toughest lockdown in Australia, possibly the world. Was it 3 months?
Well, they're saying that now, yeah, but like now the English are saying, well, we've been locked down for like 9 months now.
Yeah.
So
Europe has, really.
Europe has. So look, Australia's done well through COVID, but auction clearance rates, I know people make a big song and dance about it. They change so quickly and they fluctuate, but it's a sense for activity in the market. I'd like to see what sort of gap is from the auctions between what people marketing properties are versus what they're selling them at. They'll give you some sense for how hot the market is. And I always speak to Tom Panos. He's an auctioneer in the sort of inner city area in Newtown. I'll have a chat with him today at some point. Most people know Tom Panos if you're in real estate. He's always got a view of what's happening. And he's starting to say things are starting to temper a little bit, but I'll chat with him now and see what's going on. But anyway, that's a quick wrap on what's going on in property. Everything dominated Maja because everyone's worried about their rice bowl. Is my property going up? And should I get more property so it goes up in value?
Should I buy? Should I sell?
Should I sell? So we'll tell those stories. Lots of investor podcasts coming up with me having chats with people right across Australia investing in property. And these are the stories of Maja. We want more people to get in touch with us, to come on and have
come on the show. It feels not scary.
Not that scary. And I like more ladies on the show as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
We need some, there are women out there that are, investing in property, and please get in touch with us. Yeah, we'd be happy to have you on the show and hear your story.
Tell your story. We want to tell the stories. That's how everyone can grow and evolve. And you often see, Maja, in a lot of relationships, it's the ladies that lead the way, right?
They do, they're
exactly. The decision makers. And normally the partner is sort of
men love to claim the win, but I think women do the behind the scenes work. So.
Yeah, getting ready for making a life nicer. So please get in touch with us. You can direct message us on any of the social media platforms, just Smart Property HQ, or you can email the team direct here, go straight through to Maja, editor at smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. There's a contact form on the site as well. You get in touch with us there, but just reach out, come and have a chat, do it all over Zoom, or you can come into our studio if that's what you like to do. These are the stories we like to tell. And remember, please tell your friends about what we're doing here, whichever app you're listening to, your favourite app. Keep those reviews coming. We do like them. The team get a real kick out of them knowing that we're doing something special. Maja, thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me on the show,
That's
Phil.
Good. Keep up the good work. Keep the engines of information of property investment alive, keeping Australians informed because our intent is to make sure people are making more informed decisions. So,
exactly.
If you listen to this, it means you're on that pathway. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.
This past year, we've all experienced isolation and uncertainty. For kids living with serious illness, like 7-year-old Annabella, this is something they feel every day. This Starlight Day, you can give happiness to thousands of seriously ill children like Annabella, and donations made before Sunday 9th of May will be matched by a generous Starlight partner. Donate today at starlightday.org.au.